have boundary issues. I have fear of abandonment. I procrastinate because I'm a perfectionist. It's amazing how people have become so much more aware and so much more literate in understanding their own emotional situations. Unfortunately, I've realized with all the work I've done on myself and with my clients over the past few years is that information does not lead to transformation. And what I have come to understand is that there are 5 dimensions in which we experience our lives as human beings, our lives, our relationships. And unless we are able to heal or handle the issues in all 5 dimensions, the healing doesn't remain deep and it doesn't remain long lasting. So, what are these 5 dimensions? The first dimension, the most important one, is the body, right? You actually exist as a body before you exist as anything else, like before your mind develops, before your heart really understands. So your body is something which is literally your sacred home on this planet, for your soul. But unfortunately, we've been conditioned to always look at our body as something you have to fight, or you have to lose weight, you have to become taller, your color is wrong, your shape is wrong, go on this diet, run so much, wear these kind of clothes. I mean, we are constantly battling our own bodies, which is such a strange way to deal with your existence here on this planet, right? So the most important thing is to heal your relationship with your body. Yes, your body holds a lot of memories, your body holds the memory of trauma as well, and that is why one has to always start wherever it feels the strongest. So if you feel that there is, you're having constant low backaches, you've got migraines, you've got inexplicable rashes, asthma, and unable to sleep, that's your body trying to send a message to you, right? So you need to work on the body dimension. However, that's not the only one. You need to also then work on your mind, because your mind is holding a lot of limiting beliefs. Your mind and your subconscious mind is actually trapped in a lot of conditioning, things you've been told right from the time you were born, practically, right? Your whole identity, your ego, everything is trapped in the mind. The third is the story that you have told yourself. Usually for most people, some incident, some experience in childhood, which scares the child or makes the child feel afraid, and then as a child we make up a story around it, that, oh, I am not loved, or I'm a bad person, or I am never good enough. And that story keeps you safe, because then you start behaving in a way that you'll never attract that kind of danger or that kind of lack of safety again. Unfortunately, when you become an adult, that story keeps you trapped. It becomes like a cage. You are unable to really let yourself free and become who you are truly meant to be. So the story dimension is another one you need to work on. Once you have worked on all these, the wisdom dimension is really important, because what it does is it makes sense of all these three. And as I told you earlier, it says, okay, so I have abandonment issues. Okay, how am I going to respond when I send a text and the person doesn't reply? Am I going to go into a complete panic and think, oh my God, they're going to break up with me? Oh my God, what have I done wrong? Is there going to be something, some terrible thing that's going to happen to me as a result of this? Or are you able to say, okay, I remember now that this is a story I made up because of that experience. I recognize that my body is trying to give me some information. I can take a deep breath and relax my body. I can tell my mind that, okay, let's respond to this situation in a conscious way, right? So that's your wisdom dimension that needs to come into play. And the fifth one, which is usually something which doesn't, get worked on during a lot of the healing modalities, is your connection to your own higher self. Whether you want to call it connection to the divine consciousness, your own higher self, your future self, your quantum jump, it doesn't matter, whatever you call it. The thing is, you need to connect with the fullest, highest potential that you're capable of being, right? And this is something I always say, this is it, you got this one life. It's not a dress rehearsal. It's not a dress rehearsal. This is your life. You need to have ownership of it. And unless you've dealt with all the other dimensions, unless your body feels safe, unless your mind has given up on the limiting beliefs, unless your story has released you from its cage, unless your wisdom is able to allow you to react in a safe and healthy way, you're not going to be able to connect to your higher self. So there is no hierarchy among the dimensions. Whatever you feel called to do, you should start with. So if your biggest problem is that, you're constantly procrastinating and you feel that your energy is totally trapped, you should work on the energy dimension. If you feel you got such low backache and there is no explanation for it, no CT scan, no MRI, nothing, you probably should try and listen to what information your body is trying to tell you. Maybe you are in a emotionally abusive relationship and you have never actually named it that way. So you need to start there. But unless you've been able to work through all 5 dimensions of the healing, whether you call it the journey, the healing, the process, once you are done with all those, then only will you be able to get ownership of your own life and contain everything that, that power that has been given to you to live this life in the best possible way. So if any of this interests you and you feel, oh my God, yes, this is a game changer, I want to work with you one on one, then definitely message me. Stay tuned, because I'm going to be talking a lot about this 5 dimension method, which I think is the most powerful methodology that can really, really transform people's lives. And a little bit of story, my whole work started when my marriage ended in a divorce, and I realized that there wasn't much around for emotional support or safety. And I was fortunate to find a mentor, Catherine Woodward Thomas. I learned from her, then I trained as a coach. And all the work over the last few years has led me to this point where I've realized that we need more comprehensive, more holistic healing modalities, because everyone is trapped in some way or the other, And we know what you see on social media is not what people's lives are. Somebody celebrating a 30th wedding anniversary, but the couple have lived separately for 10 years, So everyone is going through something, and everyone has the capacity to release themselves from it, right? As a coach or as a mentor, my role is merely just to guide and say, look, these are the milestones. Shine a light on something, saying, look, this is not actually a snake, this is a rope, right? Oh, look, you shouldn't jump over here because you're going to fall down. So this is the kind of role that a guide or a mentor plays. And if you are able to find such a mentor, I was so fortunate to find not just one, but many mentors who came into my life, guided me, gave me direction, helped me to stay safe, held me when I was confused and lost, and really, really made me, I suppose, walk towards a better future. And that is the reason why I'm doing the work that I do. And I really, really hope that you can find your healing, you can find your guidance, you can find your path and your journey, and you can live this one single precious life that you have to the best and the fullest extent possible.